Yo, it's your motherfucking boy Ruciano, and you tuned in with the Great American Hip Hop Debate Podcast. You heard? Let's get it.
This is a J. Clyde. This is a J.
Shout out to DJ Premier. Shout out to J. Clyde. Shout out Ruciano in the building. Ruciano.
Oh, this is a J. Clyde production.
New single called Era.
Ruciano, nigga.
New single, Era on all DSPs.
Ruciano, nigga.
This is me scratching it.
Ruciano, nigga.
Gahhd Cast.
I'm nice.
Ruciano, nigga.
You trash.
Got the tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get damaged.
Sub-Zero.
I got such a. Got the tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get damaged. Got the tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get damaged.
New Ruciano Era out
The tightest flow
now.
in the planet, the microphone to get damaged.
Produced by J.
The
Clyde.
tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get damaged. The tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get damaged.
Shout out to DJ Premier on the scratches. I taught him everything he knows.
Got the tightest flow in the planet, the microphone to get
Guy,
damaged.
okay over here? What happened? Your fucking son baked your head?
The stop
right over there?
my hand up. I like the dope and get him.
You wild.
Ooh, make sure y'all go check out that new single.
Hell yeah.
It's called Era. It's by the brother Ruciano.
Shit's fire.
Ruciano, welcome, my brother.
Yo, appreciate y'all for having me. Yo, what's going on, man?
Yes, sir. Welcome, world. Episode 116 of the Great American Hip Hop Debate Podcast. I am the brother Burnz. To the left of me, I got the brother BS.
BS to the OP, you know what it be, man. Repping that LBE, rocking that MDMA all day, man. Welcome.
On the check-in, we got International Blood.
Yeah, man, we here with the boy Ruciano, man, about to get it popping. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Before we get into Ruciano and his career as the Brooklyn Aquaman, we our last episode we put out the top 10 albums. The top 10 hip-hop albums of all time, and we got some pushback with today's guest, Ruciano, and also with Bludshot, who did not submit a list. I want to get some of y'all's feedback on this top 10 list, so I'm going to give it to y'all in reverse order. At number 10, we had a tie between Tupac's All Eyes on Me and The Chronic. At number 9, we had Midnight Marauders, Tribe Called Quest. At number 8, we had a surprise entry, another Midnight Marauders.
Another question.
Another Tribe Called Quest album, Low End Theory.
Correct.
At number 7 was Mobb Deep's Infamous. Number 6 was Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers.
Monumental.
Number 5 was Cuban Links by Raekwon.
Wow, back to
Number
back.
3 was a tie, Ready to Die, Biggie, and Brooklyn's Own. Well, they're both Brooklyn. Ready to Die by Biggie and Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z.
Nice.
At number 2 was Life After Death by Biggie.
Classic.
And number 1 was Illmatic.
Okay.
So let's get to our guest first. How
Yeah,
do
go
you
ahead.
feel about that list and its accuracy?
And what would you change?
I'll change a few. I'm not gonna pinpoint which ones I'm gonna change because
allowed
that's
to. You're allowed to see your opinion.
Yeah, right. But that shit is subjective
opinion
too, though.
counts.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a few names up there, like Eminem. The first Eminem album I would have threw up there somehow.
Okay. The Slim Shady LP.
Yeah,
Right. Solid.
DMX is Dark and Hell is Hot.
Classic album.
Absolutely.
Fuji's, like, you know,
Score.
Yeah, the score.
Great album.
Facts.
Right.
That was
Juvenile 400 Degrees. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Underrated. Classic.
Right. Shit. It's a couple more like this, like, but like I said, I'm not mad at that list one bit. It's just, to me, it's subjective. Like, somebody was up there like 2-3 times. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And-
so
and-
Tribe was up here twice.
Yeah, they do have a big influence, but like,
Biggie was on here twice,
I
Wu-Tang.
100% agree with that.
and Wu-Tang had 2 entries.
You see the Wu-Tang, the 36 Chambers, I definitely agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
The
Illmatic, I agree
Tribe
with that.
surprised me. All right, so we had a panel of 8 people.
Right.
And everybody submitted their top 10, and based off those lists, each entry got points. So if you were number 1, you got 10 points. If you were number 10, you got 1 point. And then that's how the scores were added up. So an album like Life After Death, when I went back and reviewed, and I wish I had brought the papers with me, Life After Death was number 1 on like 3 or 4 lists.
Okay.
But it ended up being number 2 because Illmatic was just on, I think, on like 7 out of 8 lists.
Right. Okay.
Up there in the top
Exactly.
3
Whereas Life
or
After Death,
less.
even though it was on number 1 on a couple lists,
On a
a few
lists.
other lists, it didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or it was
people
very
agreed
low.
more on
When it comes
Illmatic,
down to the
basically.
names of the artists, the names like damn near fit. Like it's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So forget the albums.
Yeah,
You like
absolutely.
Hove, Biggie, Wu Tang, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about
Well,
right.
the top 3 is Biggie, Nas, and
And-
Jay-Z.
Yep.
Yeah. Who's
And
the
some-
greatest? Yeah.
It sucks that like in a situation like this, let's say you have 8 judges, and you know, I think on my top 10 list I had put Twister's Adrenaline Rush.
Okay.
The album
Obviously,
came
I
out
was
in
the
the 90s?
only like 96, 97.
That's
Right.
crazy.
I was the only one to put that on the list.
Right.
So it's like you kind of have to go with generic choices almost, because if you truly pick
But
your best
remember-
albums, they're not making no list.
True.
They're
Like I
making the
put
top list.
Lupe's the Cooler.
Right, and that you were the only one.
I was the only one.
And then surprisingly, an album like Ghostface, I think it only made 2 lists.
Right. I was one of them.
Blood, can we get your thoughts on the top 10 hip hop albums list since you did not submit a list?
Absolutely. So yeah, my list backwards. So basically from the 10th to the number 1,
Okay.
I got, and this is just off the dome. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got Ready to Die.
Okay.
At
I got
10.
at 10. Yeah.
Mm.
Ready to Die. It Was Written. All Eyes on Me. Chronic 2001. Cuban Links. Capital Punishment. 36 Chambers. Illmatic. Reasonable Doubt. And number 1 is Life After Death. Now, I got 2 albums from a couple different artists. Like, I got 2 Biggies, 2 Wu-Tang.
2 Nas.
And
2
your
Nas.
top 3 was Biggie, J, and Nas.
Yes.
But you
Biggie, J, and
snuck
Nas.
in Big Pun.
I snuck in Big, of course. Like,
Right.
I'm looking at it as tracks that albums that I listen to the tracks over and over and over, and the albums that have the most number of like hard hitting tracks that I'll go back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Capital Punishment got a few tracks in there that I'm like, yo, I play this shit 100 times in a year. You know what I mean? More so than anybody else.
Thinking back on the votes, I want to say Yeah Baby got more votes than Capital Punishment.
Yo, how we forgot about
If I-
Money,
if I-
Power, Respect.
Money
Power, Respect is dope.
Another classic album.
Now, you know what? And I'll throw 2 kind of like honorable mentions that are kind of like flyers, like you did with VS did with Lupe and you did with Twista. I'll throw in if I didn't add like an extra album from one of the artists, I'll go with like HNIC from Prodigy.
Was
And
that 2000 though?
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
yeah,
absolutely.
was it? Yeah.
Oh
was
no,
it
yeah,
90s?
okay, you're right. No, it was
This is
all
top
time,
10,
all
right?
time, yeah, all time.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right,
this
you're
is
right.
all
My fault.
R.I.P. to Prodigy. And then
100%.
this is controversial right here, but I think is an album. And I'm just gonna throw it up there. Summertime Shootout by Fab.
Yo, you love that project.
That shit is crazy, my
Look on
nigga.
that one.
Yo,
It's
that
good,
shit is
but I don't know
crazy.
about that.
I go back and listen to those tracks hard, yo. Like, this is dope ass
I was
album,
listening
my
to
nigga.
Fab's Friday Night Freestyles yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
That shit to me is
That motherfucker
classic.
got bars, man. Don't sleep on Fab.
Nah, Fab's a beast.
Yep,
No
when
question.
Fab
The
when
problem
Fab
was
get in
that
his
Clue
bag-
tried to get him to be a crossover artist, and he fucked up his career at first, but then he got it back, my nigga. Like, that nigga, he got longevity.
Well, I agree that's why his first couple albums always kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to be. It was like what Diddy did to Mace. Only they succeeded. Clue didn't.
Exactly.
Although Fab succeeded, platinum artist, classic artist.
100%.
He just
Yeah.
never delivered that complete album
Yeah.
until later in his career when he started coming with the soul tapes. And I always thought that Young OG
Serious
project
shit.
was pretty fucking solid. Blood
That was
loved the
solid.
Summer Shootout project.
Yo, I'm telling you, Summertime Shootout,
No
man, that
Soul's
changed
Way.
the game, yo.
You
Now, a lot
see-
of
you
people
see-
are
you see
doing
the new
like
joint he
these
dropped?
remix tracks.
Oh, he got a new joint?
Like he got a new video, one of them little freestyle beat. He did somebody beat
Yeah?
something. Yeah, that shit was fire.
I like when Fab freestyles, bro.
Facts.
Yeah.
He had this shit with Drama, the something about death. Funeral Fab, some shit like that. Like a whole mix.
Yeah.
This shit with him and
Yeah,
Jada.
The Friday Night.
Oh, the
Freddy's.
Friday the 13th. That shit was hard
Yeah,
too.
the-
Oh yeah. The
Jason
Nightmare on
versus
Main
Freddy.
Street.
Yeah.
that
Freddy
shit was
versus
super
Jason.
fire.
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason.
It had a couple skips on it, but the joints that were hot were super fire.
Yeah, definitely some
Right.
notables too.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I look forward to Fab coming back. There was a point that he was really making a push for the King of New York
Hell yeah.
a few years ago.
And then he just stopped. And then but then he had some bullshit happen, and that kind of derailed him and shit.
That's right. Yeah. But I consider Summertime Shootout album, so I'll throw that in like my honorable mention. But like these 10 that I named, like those shits are solid. Like those are not to be fucked with, in my opinion.
Agreed. I think the top 5 here is well, all right. On this list, I don't agree that Cuban Links should be
top
above
5?
36 Chambers. Not necessarily if it should or should not be top 5. I don't think it should be above 36 Chambers.
Okay.
Me
And
neither.
why so? I mean, I kind of understand why you think that way, but elaborate.
Cuban 36 Chambers to me is a better album. It's more compact. It has less room for error, and it was just a more landmark album when it dropped.
The cultural significance
It
of it.
changed and paved the way for Cuban Link.
Yeah, exactly. It
know
made
what I'm
Cuban
saying?
Link possible.
Yeah, Cuban Link was more
right.
easy to digest because 36 Chambers was out and it had already set that this is our sound, this is how we're delivering it, and y'all gonna
The
take it.
funny thing is, and I know this is gonna sound weird, but the funny thing about Cuban Link is that even though it is the RZA, fully produced by the RZA, it still sounds different than 36 Chambers.
Because
No,
the RZA
very
was
much,
tailoring
very
the album to the artist.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So
And that's what I was gonna say, Harv. Like the reason, in my opinion, 36 Chambers is better is because although Cuban Links is like a structured album, like we were talking about, comic book or movie, beginning to end, everything matches, everything flows. It got the fucking crazy ass tracks. It got Ice Cream on there. It's still not fucking with the tracks that 36 Chambers got on there that are classic. You feel me?
True.
Like Cream, Also Simple,
That's the thing.
Method Man. Like these are tracks that, yo, my nigga, you cannot fuck with these songs. And plus, picture how you felt when you first saw 13 niggas with masks on a fucking album with a big ass W. Like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Takeover.
You know what I'm saying?
I was shook.
Some takeover.
Me too, nigga. I had to cop that shit. Like, I'm
straight
copping
I
this.
remember when I first heard Protect Your Neck, it was on First Class.
Yes.
And I was
Shout out to DJ First.
Yo, I'll
Wherever
never
the fuck you
forget.
are, bro.
I burnt that fucking tape out because I had to keep listening to Protect Your Neck. I was like the guy that kept calling in. What you want to hear, man? I want to hear that Wu-Tang joint. Wu-Tang again and again. Yo, I
Ain't
kept
that
going back.
ain't that RZA's brother that calls and does that?
Probably.
I don't know. Our guest Ruciano is not a big fan of
the
RZA.
Wu-Tang, yeah.
No, not of the
Really?
Wu-Tang. Right? You fuck with the Wu-Tang, just RZA wasn't necessarily your favorite.
I got respect for all of them.
Who was
you
your
know what I'm saying?
favorite member?
My favorite member in Wu-Tang, I have a few favorite members. Shout out to Method Man.
Shout out to Meth. Still doing it big.
Inspector-
Yeah.
To this day, bro.
Hell yeah.
To this day.
Inspector Deck is
Inspector Deck.
the king of getting a song started.
Starting off a track, yeah.
Because
yeah.
he started
The
Protect Your
first
Neck.
verse, yeah.
He started Triumph.
Yes.
Yo, I bomb atomically. That shit will go down in history.
Atomically, Socrates' philosophy.
That will go down in history as one of the best starting lines of all time.
Dropping these
All time.
these lyrically perform
You know what I'm saying?
And that was originally a
lottery.
Tony Touch freestyle. Mm-hmm. That verse.
Yeah. So you got Inspector Deck, Method Man. Who else?
Ghostface. You
That's my
got,
favorite. He's my favorite.
Old
Ghostface.
Dirty.
You got shout out to
Yeah.
Ruciano.
Yeah.
Maybe the only person I've ever heard
man.
say you got is in the tops.
And I personally can't say it, but that little statement that everybody go by, like that saying that him and Jay-Z had that freestyle battle and whatever happened.
I've never heard that till you
Me
said
neither,
it.
bro. I mean, I never heard the battle.
No,
but
no,
I always
definitely
heard
never
about
heard
that
that.
shit happening.
You got
like,
it, Jay-Z?
You got
yeah,
verse
supposedly
Jay-Z.
or some shit like I don't know, like yeah,
I'd
like
love
back
to
in the
hear that.
days, like because niggas niggas lived in Brooklyn, went to Weston House or some shit, like whatever the case was, yeah. And then
must
from
have
then
been
I was
crazy.
just like, damn, like like I'm the type of person like if you spar with my you know what I mean, the person I look up to or like like I got it, like you know what I mean, you got it.
Yeah,
or
you gotta earn that respect.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So it was just like I don't know, son. Like I don't know, man. I would love to hear it.
Me too.
I
I'm
would
very
love to
interested
hear it,
in
bro.
that now.
I would pay to hear it.
Shout out to you, God. He
For
dropped a
real.
book. 2
the
years
audio
ago,
book.
roughly.
Yeah.
Shit, I wonder if he
pretty
spoke
dope.
about that in his book.
Something to look into. Absolutely.
Facts.
Shout out to you, God, though. And he delivered that fire verse.
Chess box.
Cocaine straight from Bolivia.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna give it to you with no trivia.
But you see, you see what I'm saying?
That's forever, right?
That's it.
Right.
That's another one.
And didn't he?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, he recorded that while he was like on furlough, and then he ended up going back to jail when the album came out.
Yo, don't get me wrong though. Like, shout outs to RZA, shout out to everybody else in Wu-Tang as well though. Like, you know, because they all like paved their ways and like, because like as I got older, I started realizing the significance and a lot of shit that they was doing back then. I was a kid. Like, a lot of the shit didn't make sense to me. It was just like it just seemed all over the place. Like,
well, they were so different as adults. A lot of shit didn't make sense. They was all dusted out and shit.
They want some different shit though.
When that mystery of chess boxing video came out, you were like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yo, so talking about them being dusted out, right? So you see how people nowadays come and they be like try to downgrade what niggas be rapping about now because people be like drugged up or whatever the case was. It's like when you go back and listen to Wu-Tang and all that and shit like that, what was they rapping about?
Wet dust,
exactly, bro. But we do praise them as being legend and pioneers, right? But then we come to our times, like it's like.
But they didn't promote it though as something positive.
That's what I think the argument is. Yeah, I don't think they were like, "Yo, this shit is fun and lit, and y'all should also do this."
They were actually talking about the cautionary tales of it, like, don't do this shit because you gonna wind up on the fucking street.
Which is true, right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
You know, because they were also big on that, like all that 5% of shit, and that 5% of shit didn't fuck with drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
message. Shout out to the 5%ers too, man. Even
the Earths and the Gods.
Like, yo, we're not 5%ers, but through hip hop, we learned so much of that culture and of that religion.
They incorporated a lot of it,
and that discipline.
God body shit too.
Like a lot of people just absorbed that, and it became part of them without really studying and becoming part of that. So shout out to that, man. Lord Jamar was heavy into that a lot. Rock him as well. Of course, Wu-Tang.
The whole brand new.
Speaking of Wu-Tang. We recently put out a top 10 hip-hop songs of the 90s in conjunction with the Weapon Network on Roku. Make sure y'all go check us out on the Weapon Network on Roku. Shout out to the brother Vic. Shout out to Sis Ev. Also check us out on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. While you're there, follow Ruciano's page. Like, comment, and subscribe. He's got a new video out for Era. You can also check out the DJ Premiere video that we played at the top of the show.
Chill.
He's also got a couple other videos out there that you should go check out. And you can listen to all of his albums. Last year alone, 2021, he put out 5 albums under the Aquaman series. And there was 7, damn.
Yeah, 7.
And there was one released in 2020, and we're going to get into all that shortly. But speaking of Wu-Tang, we put out the top 10 hip-hop songs of the 90s, and they came in at number 1. So I'm going to go down the list backwards. At number 10 was Release Your Delf, which was a personal pick by me, so we could definitely debate that. It probably don't belong on the list, but...
And you said these are the songs, right?
Yeah, these are the top 10 hip-hop songs of the 90s. Number 10, Release Your Delf by Method Man. I take the 100% blame on that one. Number 9, One More Chance by Biggie. Number 8, Shook Ones by Mobb Deep. Number 7, The Benjamins, Puff Daddy. Number 6, Snoop Dogg, What's My Name? Number 5, Jay-Z, Hard Knock Life. Number 4, Nas, It Ain't Hard to Tell. Number 3, Dr. Dre, G Thing. Juicy at number 2, and the greatest hip hop song of the 90s, Cream by the Wu-Tang.
Okay, so definitely, why Release Yourself?
Yo, that's one of Method Man's most fire songs, if not his most fire.
It's dope. It is dope, but Method Man, the actual song
24 Hours to Live. 24 Hours to Live came out in the 90s, right?
True.
24 Hours to Live
with DMX album.
How we don't got 24 Hours to Live?
That's a good one.
24 Hours to Live could have been up here.
Even All I Need.
All I Need.
All I Need. Yeah, but oh my God.
Yo, all right, wake up in the morning and play All I Need.
And put that Release Your Delf.
And then wake up in the morning and put Release Your Delf and tell me what day's better.
Because they got the Rocky sample.
Fuck out here. I was feeling it that day.
You were pushing to sit-ups, nigga.
I was probably in the gym and shit.
Jump rope.
All right, so Release Your Delf is debatable.
No, it should be like offable, like the listable. Get
all
the fuck out of here.
The next two, in my opinion,
go ahead,
are way too low on the list. One More Chance by Biggie and Shook Ones by Mobb Deep. Either one of these could have been number 1.
They should have been number 1 and 2 right there.
Especially
Shook Ones
definitely hold a lot of weight.
Hell yeah. The beat alone could have been on the list.
Crazy,
we could have put the instrumental on the list. And it would
niggas done remixed Shook Ones and made other songs from that song.
Matter of fact, Fab was on, he raps over shook ones on that tape we were just talking about.
Friday Night Freestyle.
Mariah Carey used it.
Yeah.
Mad people use that.
Mad people use that shit.
And One More Chance by Biggie, like.
And the fact that What's My Name was ranked higher than those two, the fuck out of here.
Debatable, absolutely. Some people would put it above. If you're from Cali, you'd probably say Snoop should have been number one,
right?
Or G Thing should have been number one.
I wouldn't have put What's My Name. I would have put Gin and Juice.
Fair, but you voted.
I don't know.
This is what the votes came out to. What's My Name was the lead single, so it might have been a bigger.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a consensus. Like everybody,
exactly.
You know,
the only one here that was not consensus vote was Release Yourself.
Release Yourself. You better release yourself off that list, nigga.
Yeah, for real.
Meth, I love you, man.
Put Method Man on there or some shit.
The Benjamins, number 7. That shit could have been number 1. The Benjamin's so good, it could have been number 1 and 2, yo. That song is
Biggie,
crazy.
Mace.
Yeah.
But it's not beating Cream, though. Like, when you throw on Cream, nigga, everything stops. That's the thing.
No, we're going to get to Cream. Once My Name, y'all are saying it could have been replaced by Gin and Juice.
For sure.
I think it could have even been replaced by Deep Cover.
True.
What?
Deep Cover?
Yeah. Facts.
That beat was crazy.
Yeah.
That's why this shit is so
still
subjective,
crazy.
bro. Like, this shit is just like...
Yeah,
That's the beauty of lists and shit. No matter what list you put out, there's always going to be...
hell yeah.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Everything's
and it
debatable.
goes back to the shit I said in the beginning. Like, once you hear the names, it's like, shit, that sounds about right. It don't even matter what. It's just like, who's the names up there? Boom, boom. Yeah, that sounds about
that
right.
sounds right.
Yeah, right. That sounds about right.
And mood, man. Mood plays a lot of things. Because... All right, let's save that for the top 2 because the top 2 is debatable depending on mood. But after What's My Name, number 5, Hard Knock Life by Jay-Z. That surprised the shit out of me as the Jay-Z pick.
True.
I would have thought.
That, yeah.
I knew Jay-Z was gonna be up here. That's
of course,
without a doubt. But
Can't Knock the Hustle would have been.
But then again, Hard Knock Life was the biggest song. That's what crossed him over into superstardom.
True. He
Yeah,
became
but
a
still,
superstar.
nah.
I hear that song to this day and it
that's-
still gets shivers, yo. That shit.
That's a good fucking song.
Right.
Yeah, but
Hard Night Life?
Yeah, hell
but
yeah.
not his best song, though. It is dope, though. It is dope. Damn.
I don't know.
It's hard, bro.
On the
Can't
right
knock the-
day, in the
can't
right
knock the hustle.
mood. Yeah.
In the
Yeah, Can't Knock
projects
the
in the
Hustle, like-
summertime with a quarter water.
Exactly.
Sunflower
Really loud and
seasoning.
shit. Nas, It Ain't Hard to Tell at number 4.
that's
fitting.
That's to me. That's subjective to whoever's making the list.
yeah, true indeed.
That too.
That
That
too.
too.
Yeah, because Nas could have had a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
Right.
Nas could have had I Hate You Now.
And that goes with being subjective
Oh,
of
Hate Me
whoever's
Now,
making the list.
Yeah.
See, but that's the thing with a list like this, right?
we
You're
could've-
gonna pick the big single.
Right. You could have put NY State of Mind if that's the case.
Hell
New York
yeah.
State of
Oh,
Mind,
that
true.
could have
like-
been
Yeah,
number
New York
one.
State of Mind.
Right.
That could have been number 1.
I think that was
and
in my
people
list. Matter
wouldn't
of
have
fact, New
debated
York State of Mind. I think it was in my list.
The Message. You know what
The
I'm
Message. The one with Lauren. Another
Yeah,
big single.
Rappers
Rule
up
the world.
monkey flip them.
Yeah.
At number 3, we had G Thing. I like that at number 3. I could have put. I could have.
I'm not mad at
1,
that.
2,
I could understand why that's top 3. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it was 1. Because
Yeah.
G Thing was huge.
Right.
Like, it
Yeah, not
literally-
1, but 3 is not bad. Yeah, you're right.
It literally dominated everything that was going on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no New York artist that was topping that song.
And-
It's a whole
and
vibe.
It's
It's a whole
aged
vibe.
well.
It did. It
Yep.
course.
Because you could
That's a
still
fact.
play that shit right now and get souped off that shit.
My
All right,
daughter could rap the fucking Snoop verse.
your baby?
Yeah, no, not the baby. That
Oh, I was
Aaliyah.
gonna say.
Aaliyah, shout out to Aaliyah. She turned 15 today. Love you, baby girl.
Shout out to
you. Happy
Aaliyah. Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Cheer.
Yes.
Word up.
Teach the baby.
That's coming. That's next. That's next.
At number 2 was Juicy, and at number 1 was Cream. These two are super like interchangeable, and there's been debates before us that have had them at 1 and 2 as the best hip hop song, not only of the 90s but of all time. So here I think is where I wanted to talk about mood, because a song like Juicy, everybody loves Juicy, but it's so popular that sometimes you don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
Like you've heard
It's
it so many
oversaturated,
times. Yeah. So if
What do
you're
you
not
think?
in
What
the
do you think,
mood,
Ruciano?
it's like
Between the two. Juicy or Cream.
Biggie's Juicy and Wu-Tang Cream. There's 2 iconic songs.
hell
Like
yeah. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, like I guess I gotta go. Man, this shit gonna sound real like subjective. Like you know where I'm from, so it's like I gotta go with Biggie. Like you know what I mean?
Facts.
Home
But
team, ain't
yeah,
nothing wrong with
it's
that.
like but Cream like cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Like,
I think Cream you
can't
won't
say
skip.
nothing.
It's like
You know what I'm
mood.
saying?
I won't skip
Right.
either or.
But
I won't skip
but
either
that's
or
me.
neither.
Like, you know
you
what I'm
never
saying?
skip Juicy?
Never in my life. That was the first time I heard Biggie.
Never. Come on.
He lying. He lying.
Nah.
He lying.
All right, look at it this way. Just like you said, mood, right?
Uh-huh.
At every party, that's a hip hop party. If the DJ throws Juicy when it's like the most popular, the party's gonna get even crazier, my nigga. It don't matter.
But doesn't that apply to Cream if he throws Cream at the most popular?
Not really,
Cream is not
because
gonna-
I'll
Cream
tell
is
you
the
like
difference
this.
is for the
At a
cutthroats and the thugs.
You have a point.
I feel like Cream transcended that.
Blood, you have a point, but I
Nah,
think
man.
another Biggie song that's bigger than that'll turn the party up even bigger than Juicy
I
is
know what
fucking
you're gonna say.
Hypnotize.
Yeah, of course.
Or
That
One
shit-
More Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, one more chance.
Or that.
Yeah, but Juicy is just something about Juicy for hip hop heads, bro. I don't know how to explain it.
I
bro.
don't disagree with you. I just think Juicy, I just think sometimes you don't want to hear that shit, bro. What? No diss. Like, not that it's whack or nothing. Sometimes you just, like, you're listening to the album and it comes on and you're like, wow, I heard this song mad times, skip. Where Cream is like, no matter where you're at, you hear Cream and you're like, oh.
The samples, yo. It's just the samples.
You
man.
could just hear the sample alone and you'll be like, oh.
Plus, it's also the fact of how the samples were cut up too. How the RZA cut up the samples and shit, in my opinion. Whereas Juicy, it was just a loop.
But
And
like I said
Juicy's
first,
just a
you're
little
talking
more
about
popish.
listening to the album. So you either dolo or in the whip with someone. I'm talking about at a fucking party, nigga. At
Right.
you
No,
know
I
a
get it.
DJ
I just
playing
think
that
even
shit.
at a party, Cream would just be doper to me.
Nah, I'm not
it comes in
playing
doper.
No
playing Cream at a
way, no way,
I
nigga.
would never.
It depends on the crowd. It depends on the crowd at the party, but nah, I don't think so.
But I feel like Cream,
Spread love is the
Cream
Brooklyn
is no
way.
longer that
Nah,
thug
nah.
anthem. That shit is a fucking hip hop classic. Everybody knows it.
Nah, you're right. Yeah, but it's the mood, like you said. Just like the brother Ruciano was talking about DMX before. DMX might not be in my top 10, but he
he in
could
somebody's
fall
top 10.
there at any given time in terms of playability and the way that I just listen to his albums over and over. You know what I'm saying? But lyrically, I might not put him up there, but energetically, like he's that dude. You feel me? So it depends on your mood.
No, I totally get it. That's what I mean
You know?
with Juicy.
Yeah.
It-
And Cream too.
Personally, sometimes I'm not in the mood for Juicy, where I don't think I would ever skip Cream.
I don't know.
But again,
subjective.
subjective.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Heavy on
either
the
of these
subjective.
three could have been number one: G Thing, Juicy, or Cream.
True.
Even
Facts.
the Benjamins could have been number one. I wouldn't have complained. Shook
Yeah.
Ones could have been number one. I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah.
Biggie's One More
Facts.
Chance would have been number one. I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah.
Facts.
Hard Knock Life. What's my name? Release Your Delf. All debatable.
Release yourself. I hate this guy, yo. I hate this dude, yo.
Play Release Your Delf and tell me you don't get excited. That shit is
I
fire.
remember the song because I went out and got the album. I remember when it came out, yo. Like I remember that shit.
Best Method
Nah,
Man
that
song,
was a
bro.
fire ass track. Bro.
Hell yeah, and
I-
the video.
I first heard that with Black Cop, the album. I was like, yo, this song is crazy. Yo.
I actually like the Method Man album as much shit as it gets. I like the Method Man album.
I heard recently on an interview, Method Man was on Hoffa's podcast, and he
Yeah.
stated that not only did Inspector Deck lose his debut album in the Great Flood of the Wu-Tang, Method Man also lost
some of his shit, yeah.
a lot of his album, and then
No
ended up
shit.
having to record the album while they were on that initial tour.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's
so
why
what
it
we hear
sounds all over
is
the place
not
a little
the
bit. Yeah.
intended
Yeah,
album.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's
'Cause
fucked
it was-
up to my bad blood. That's fucked up to Inspector Deck, because what we got years later, the Uncontrolled Substance album,
Yeah.
was not the album we would have gotten. He would have dropped probably after Ray,
Yeah.
before Ghostface, somewhere in that region.
Right.
And I mean the trajectory of his career would have been mad different.
Oh hell yeah.
Of course.
Because he was a premier member at that
Yeah.
point. He was on a lot of shit. He was on a lot of big joints. You know what I'm saying?
And he dropped his album like in the 2000s, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it?
It was the year.
Yeah, so-
it was 2000 or 2001. One of the two.
So by then the Wu-Tang hype was already dying down. It was
Right,
more
right.
like a
Yeah.
different sound, you know?
The
That
wave
Jay-Z,
was,
Big Pun
the wave
sound.
was over by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It
So
sucks,
shout out
bro.
to Deck. Bad luck, man, and shout out to Meth.
Yeah, shout out to Meth, yo.
Tune in next week for part 2 of our interview with Brooklyn's Aquaman, Ruciano. Thanks for tapping in with the Gahhd Cast. Peace.